Alright. Today, guys, we're doing something called conditional statements. It basically means
I got it.
if-then statement. So we need to start off with an if-then statement. Anybody have an example?
I got one. If I study, then I get good grades.
Okay. What was your one?
If Marianne, I don't know, I was just saying.
When I study,
No.
I get good grades.
That's
not true.
Still. If Marianne's done, she gets
If I stick a paperclip in an outlet in my hair, I will get shot.
What? Marianne, who's Marianne's name?
If you
I'm gonna have, it's gonna make a lot of writing. Let's say,
If you have money,
Study
you
equals
might be rich.
I'll just go with the first one.
Study.
Mine was rich.
What was yours?
If I stick a paperclip in an outlet, I'll get shot.
That's too long.
I love that.
If you run, you go places.
If paperclip
If you
is
study,
If you jump,
This, I don't like this one
If
because
you jump, you will fall. If you jump, you will fall.
Okay. I kind of want a true statement, and that first one might not necessarily be
If you
true.
jump, you will fall.
What goes up sooner or later comes
Some people run from murderers and some don't.
Or if you eat.
Unless you jump on
If you push a button,
No, it's for some people are dead short. If you die, you're dead. If you jump off.
I will do good.
Some people have COVID, I don't know what about.
If you die, you will have to do that.
Okay,
Letter make a word.
never mind. We'll go with the boring one. If
Jump and fall.
If you trip, you fall.
I think I used this one the other day, but we'll go with it again.
If it is a
Oh.
mama.
Mammal. Then it is a guy.
Is it really?
What?
Then it
Careless
has.
cat.
That's not true.
If it's a mama.
Yeah.
It's true.
Careless cat.
There's an exception. It said for a whale.
If it is mammal, so is that a true statement? I believe it is.
No.
Even hairless cats have whiskers.
Those things are so
Dolphins and whales, I think they have fuzz.
I need to stop it.
Who?
Just throwing it out the floor downstairs.
Okay, so that's our conditional statement. The first part, it is a mammal, that's a statement. Or remember yesterday that we talked about statements are true and false. It is a mammal, that's the first part of the statement. It has hair, that's the second part of the statement. So if I call the first part P and the second part Q, then I can represent that as, this means if P, then Q. Okay, I'll write it up here actually. That's the notation that like represents that it's a conditional. If this is true, then that is going to happen. Okay, so using that statement, I'm going to write its converse. The converse is where you switch the if and the then parts. So I'm going to write if it has hair, then what?
It is a mammal.
Then it is a mammal. Now we kind of already talked about this, but is that a true statement? No, because why?
Crickets.
Okay, some bugs, like spiders, have hair.
But spiders aren't a mammal.
Right,
They're insects.
I know. The statement is, if it has hair, it has to be a mammal. That's false. Okay, how would I write, what would that look like in this notation?
Q then P.
Q then P.
Q then P.
Okay, that's how they're related. So notice the first one's true, but the second one's not, so they're not saying the same thing. Inverse. Okay, the inverse is where you do not to both of these, not to both statements. You guys remember the not symbol from yesterday?
Oh, the circle and the line?
No.
Oh, wait, no, that's.
Isn't that
And-
pretty much just waves?
It's a, yeah, it's a wave squiggle.
And
Okay, so looking at this one, if it is not a mammal,
Then it does not have it.
then it does not have hair.
Do they have to put not on both?
Yes. Okay, is that true or false? If it is not a mammal, then it does not have hair.
False.
False. Same thing with the spider argument, right? Okay, converse, inverse, and then there's something called a contrapositive. This is kind of the last of the group. Okay, the contrapositive is where, the big word, it's where you do both at once. So you switch the order and you make them not. So
Then it does not have.
if it does not have hair,
It,
then it is not a mammal.
And that's so false. Wait.
Is it false or not?
If it does not have hair,
no.
then it's false.
True.
If it does not have hair, then it is not, no, false.
Then
Well, we said on the first statement, if it is a mammal, then it has hair. So if it does not have hair, can it be a mammal? No. So this is true.
A few more factors than just
It-
if it's got hair.
Right now, we're just talking about the hair and mammal. If it does not have hair, it's not a mammal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure every mammal does have hair. That is one of the characteristics to help decide whether it's a mammal or not. Live birth, hair, there are always,
I've
well,
learned more in this class than science class.
There's got to be more to it though, because there are more similarities. Like we're all warm-blooded with these. There's probably some other stuff.
the moms feed with milk. That's one thing. Okay, anyway, so the conditional, oh, I forgot to do, what would the inverse look like for the, it's, if not P, then not Q. That's the inverse. Okay, the contrapositive is basically this, but backwards, you flip it around. So if not Q, then not P. Okay, the original statement and the contrapositive, all these are conditional statements, the if-then statements. The original statement and the contrapositive are logically equivalent. So when you switch the if and then and you make it not, it's basically saying the same thing as this one is. It can be kind of confusing, but that's how it works. It's logic, it's not English. Okay, the converse and inverse, if you look at it, there are also contrapositives of each other. Because this one says if it has hair, this one says then it does not have hair, then it is a mammal, if it is not a mammal. Those are contrapositives. Both the order switched and the nots have switched. So these two are logically equivalent. If one of them's false, the other's going to be false. Okay, darn it, I was just about to use that smart word. Probably have to type it
Read to
in.
your
If you type that in on YouTube, I don't know if I would come up or not.
I think you do, you just have to scroll down quite a
You
bit.
have to scroll down a ways.
Yeah, you don't have many subscribers.
I got 27 subscribers.
There you go. Grind, man.
Those are
Hey guys, y'all got
What?
got
Well,
22.9.
I think I like.
0.9.
you like to
Just the one.
No idea. I'm just kidding.
How just like open some of them. Like,
If I did have a YouTube channel, it would be me like blowing things up.
Okay.
Or doing something stupid. Or like punting a fish. definitely did viral.
A triangle has three sides. So, on this one, let's turn this into a conditional statement. How would I say that as an if-then statement?
If it is a triangle,
If it is a triangle,
I did it.
I'm gonna cheat there. Then it has three sides.
Wait, what? Did it?
It's not talking about
Okay, if the sides are curved, that's not really a side. It has three sides. Anyway, if it's a triangle, then it has three sides. If I said the converse, if I switch the order, would it be true or false? So if it has three sides, then it is a triangle. Is that true or false? True. So on this one, both the original statement and the converse are true. So when it's true both directions, by the way, if this is true, this is true. If this is true, this is true. So all of them would be true. But if it's true both directions, it's called a biconditional statement. Biconditional. Bi meaning two directions. So the way a biconditional statement would be represented is P double arrow Q. That means if P then Q and if Q then P, both at the same time. You can write the biconditional in one sentence if you use the connector if and only if. So instead of saying if it is a triangle then it has three sides and if it has three sides then it is a triangle, you can imply that all in one statement by saying it is a triangle if and only if it has three sides. So that if and only if statement, that means it's biconditional. So it means, it implies a triangle always has three sides, and if it has three sides, it's always a triangle. So if and only if, you can write it all at once. I'm on the wrong page. There's one more thing I probably should mention, probably a few things. Something they call the contrapositive rule. Alright, or no. No, I'm on the wrong page. The equivalent disjunction here. I'll put it down here. Equivalent disjunction. So it basically means it's not P or Q. So either not P happens or Q happens. So on my example here, either it is not a mammal or it has hair. Is that a true statement? If you have an animal, either it is not a mammal or it does have hair.
True.
It is a true statement.
Yeah.
If it is not a mammal, so think of anything that's not a mammal, then this part would be true. And since it's an or statement, that would make the statement true. If it is a mammal, then this part would be true. Okay, so either it's not a mammal or it does have hair. Okay,
What about
so
the spider argument?
it's an or statement, Will. So only one of these has to be true.
Oh, right.
Anyway, this is called they mentioned this once or twice, so that's equivalent disjunction. So it's not this or this. It's not really an if-then statement. Notice that. It's not an if-then statement, it's a disjunction. Guys, sit up. Sit up. There's no if-then on this one. So what was a or statement called? What did we call that yesterday? Disjunction. And what's an and statement called? Conjunction. All right, why don't you guys go ahead and get started.
I'm really lost.